Hey everybody! So now that you know what SEO is, the next question is, how does SEO work? And how does Google AI and tools like ChatGPT decide whose content is going to rank and be retrieved and mentioned in the AI answer? So let's get into it. Alright, so to start our journey of answering the question of how SEO works, it's important to understand that SEO helps Google and AI tools to understand your site. But how do they actually read and rank your content? Well, there's a 4-step process that these AI search models use in order to be able to retrieve and rank content. So the first step is crawling, right? So Google's been doing this for a long time. They have a bot that goes out and scours the web and finds any time a new page has been added or when a page has been updated. So the good way to think about these little bots is to think of them like detectives, right? They're going out, they're looking for clues, they're trying to find and uncover something new or something that has changed. And this is the very first step that these search models use because they have to find the information out there. Now, once they've gone out and found content that's new or content that's changed, they then add it to an index. Now, an index is simply where your content is stored, and Google has really taken the burden of this for the internet. Now, I don't have to tell you this, but the internet is massive. In fact, some of the most recent estimates show that searchable content could consist of about 4 billion plus pages online. Now, clearly, that's a ton of content that Google would have to index, and it's not indexing all of that content. And there's a reason for that. Google's only going to index the content that it deems is relevant or that is high quality, meaning it's answering a question or a query or an intent in a way that it feels is useful. And doing proper SEO can help your content have a better chance of being indexed by Google and these other AI search tools. So now let's move into the third step. Once it's found content, once it's indexed content, then it has to decide how to rank that content. And Google has perfected this art over the years with several algorithmic updates and new technologies to analyze that content's quality, as well as its authority and relevance to make sure that it's trying to serve up the best result to answer the query and the intent of the search query to make sure that that person gets the answer they're looking for. Now, the fourth step is where AI models really come into play, and that has to do with understanding that ranked content. So AI models interpret that content, and they summarize it, and they reword it for users. So like we talked about in the first video, AI is not saying, hey, go to this website to find the answer. It's going to your website, taking your answer, and then rewording and giving the answer to the user. And then if you're lucky, it's citing or mentioning you as the source. So this 4-step process really is like a big funnel, right? At the top of the funnel, you have crawling, then it has to index that content, then it has to rank that content, and then it has to understand that content so that it can be summarized. So Google and these AI models are really good at paring down a whole lot of noise and coming down to what it feels is the most relevant answer. And the way that you can make sure that your stuff ends up all the way at the bottom of that funnel is with good SEO. And the way that SEO applies to this is with key ranking and AI signals that these platforms use. So number one is the content quality that you produce. The content that you produce on page as well as off page needs to be high quality, meaning that it shouldn't be spammed with a ton of keywords, and it should answer questions and sub-questions to make sure that it has all the information that these AI models need to be able to understand it. Second is that the keyword research that you do needs to match the intent. And let me expound on that for a minute. Most user queries break down into a couple of different intents. Number one, an informational intent. They just want to find information. Number two, a commercial intent. They want to learn more about a brand. Or number three, they actually want to make a transaction. And understanding the intent behind the keywords that you research can really help you to make sure that you're creating the right type of content that matches that intent. Too often we see clients create the wrong type of intent content based on the keyword that they're trying to target. So for example, if somebody's typing in best orthodontist in Utah, that person is using a dual commercial intent with an informational intent to learn about orthodontists in Utah that are ranked well or that do a really good job. So what you wouldn't want to do is create a transactional type of piece of content that talks about your orthodontist office and all of the pricing that you have for that specific keyword. It's a mismatch. It doesn't work. So making sure that the content that you produce matches the intent of the keyword that you're targeting is incredibly important. Now, the next signal that they use is EEAT, or experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And this is something that Google's had around for several years now. And this just simply means that Google has some very advanced systems that it uses to be able to look at your brand, your website, your content from a lot of different angles. They look at backlink signals. They look at mention signals. They look at the quality of your content to make sure that it actually shows some level of expertise. They look at who wrote your content to see if they've written content other places and are an actual authority in the space. And they simply do this to make sure that the answers that they show are vetted to make sure that their users are getting the right answers to their queries. Now, the next thing that they consider is UX or user experience, right? Is your website fast? Is it secure? Does it have HTTPS? And is it mobile friendly? Like we mentioned in the last video, most people are using the web these days on their phone. So if your website does not look good on a mobile device, that's a huge red flag to Google and these other AI search tools that you're probably not a good one to reference when they're trying to give an answer. And to kind of backbone off of the EEAT, backlinks and mentions are becoming more important, especially in the world of AI search. Brand authority matters, and doing SEO outside of your website and trying to build that brand authority is working really well in today's world of AI search. So in a nutshell, AI search is evolving constantly. So instead of chasing updates, focus on creating content that's useful, trustworthy, and answers questions. And on top of doing this, you should also make sure that you're focusing on the citations that exist online that reference your business or brand. Make sure that the messaging is on point with what products or services or information that you're offering. This is where SEO is really changing from search engine optimization to search everywhere optimization. Making sure that your information and your content and your messaging is consistent across the web is how you get found on AI search. So in the next video, we're going to break down why SEO matters and why it's still one of the best long-term marketing investments for your business. So click right here to watch that video, and we'll see you over there.